What's going on, IBB Nation? It is IBB James. I'm here with Lake County Commissioner Kevin Malecek, and you don't have to wait till November 8th to vote for him. You can vote now, right?
You can
start voting now.
October the 12th.
October 12th. So make sure you get out and vote. Support Lake County. And to Kevin's credit, there was a couple years ago through a United Way event. I met Kevin. I'm like, hey, I'm not into politics. I do,
a lot of other people.
I do like politics. That's not me, man. And but I'm like, I'm a big kid now. I need to be responsible and be aware of what's happening in Lake County and what I can do to help. So you met with me and you said that there's a few different things that you're focused on, but one of the number one things you've been focused on is manufacturing in Lake County.
Absolutely.
So if you wouldn't mind just giving IBB Nation a quick clip on manufacturing, like kind of why it's so important. And then we'll dive into your hashtag IBB top 3.
I cannot wait to get
I know,
to
right?
the
This is why you've been working so hard helping people, just so you could be here right
now,
right?
You guys did a great job. So I sat down with James and had the opportunity to talk to him a little bit about what is happening in manufacturing, and he's gotten obviously him and Gary both have gotten very interested in what's going on because it's such a vital and important part of our economy in Lake County. It's 20% of all jobs in Lake County are part of the supply chain, aerospace, machine shops, you name it, big corporations to a couple person shops that are out there. It's so vitally important for us to have that economic backbone in manufacturing in the county. If we didn't have that, you wouldn't have great restaurants in Mentor and downtown Willoughby. You wouldn't have retail options. You wouldn't necessarily have professional services options out there because you've got to have that kind of very strong backbone. And it's been our backbone in this county for 50 or 60 years. So what we're trying to do is make sure we're getting out in front of all of our younger people to say there's a wealth of great job opportunities out there for you in Lake County.
The jobs are there. It's not a hey, go to school and hope you get something. It's a hey, they're here.
They're here.
Get the job. They'll pay you, and they'll pay you for your education. So free education, paid internships, paid. And of course you could stay in the greatest place on earth, Lake County.
You do. The greatest place to live, work, and raise a family, and very affordable. That's important. Chicago's great, New York's great, and if some people want to go away to school, that's fine too. But they need to know there are tremendous job opportunities here in Lake County. And it's an affordable place to live with all of those amenities that are in a lot of those other cities, and a great educational institutions that we have here right now. You've got a tremendous lakefront. We're going to hopefully do some more with that. That's one thing that I'm really trying to concentrate on my agenda. But you got to concentrate on that backbone of manufacturing in this county. It's very important.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, because a lot of people ask us, like, well, why are you so passionate about manufacturing? You're not in that industry, and I'm like, I don't really know much about it. So that's where, again, to your credit, we are on the warpath to make sure that people are aware of the opportunities. So without further ado, let's get into your top 3
My
keys
top
to success.
3
All right, let's do
keys
it.
to success. Well, the first one, and I've been doing it a little bit with you here today, is listening, and specifically active listening.
Active listening.
Active listening is important. So obviously you want to be attentive and paying attention. And one thing, when I've been in business, when I've been in higher education, or I'm now in government, you really have to hear people. That's so important. Some people just want to be heard. They don't necessarily want you to act on it. Some people want to be heard and they want you to act on it. So it's not only sitting there and absorbing what people are saying, but it's asking questions about, that's that part of that active listening that's so important. Why is this an issue to you? What is your background in this area? Those are the types of things that help you gain, as I'll talk about it here in a minute, my third point, insight, and then also empathy into what people are feeling, what their backgrounds are. But that active listening is so vitally important.
So just kind of, for example, as we're having this conversation, if I had a physics teacher that, I'd raise my hand again after he'd tell the class what to do, and he's like, you listen, but you don't hear. And it's just kind of, so it's one thing to listen, and I guess you feel that, and this is something that I know I had to learn in business, where when I first started, I'd be talking to a potential client, and I'd ask them a question, and they'd start talking, but in my head it was just all like, what do I say next? What do I say next? Like, I was just, unfortunately, I wasn't experienced enough to realize it's not what I'm saying, it's what they're saying should navigate the conversation. Is that, I guess, would you say, is that like an example of active listening?
Yeah, it is. you do need to think about obviously what you're going to say, how you're going to respond to it, but
Mhm.
it's trying to encapsulate whatever they're trying to say in their conversation with you, and asking some of those probing questions a little bit deeper to try to get to the root of their problem, of their complaint, of their need.
Mhm.
And like I say, it works in all levels of whatever profession you're in. Whether they're trying to sell them insurance, be a financial planner, trying to be their county commissioner, trying to, talk to them about an MBA degree, it works for everything. Because
Mhm.
you got to get to that root of why did they come here, why are they
Yeah,
talking to me?
what actually matters to them.
Absolutely.
So, fantastic. All right, well, so let's go to your second one.
Second one, it's kind of a direct response to that, active
Okay,
listening.
all right.
Which is what I call a rule of responsiveness. So you obviously, when you sit there and you talk to somebody, you ask these probing questions, and you're trying to get at, again, the root of their problem or need or what have you, you've got to then be responsive to it. But it's a little bit more of a tangible item than that, and that's when someone calls me, when someone emails me, I try to get back within 24 hours, unless I am in a box somewhere, with no absolute cell phone reception or what have you. It's important to get back to people.
Mhm.
There's such a low expectation, I think, for customer service in this area and around this country and really around the world nowadays, that I think if you are able to project yourself as being responsive to somebody,
Mhm.
doesn't mean you have to have the answer for them right then within that
Letting them
24-hour
know.
point, but letting them know, hey, I've heard you, this is what I think your issue is, let me work on this for you. And it might be something that's not easily solvable or not solvable at all, and it's going to take potentially weeks or months to get it done. But at
Mhm.
least letting people know, hey, I heard you. I was
Yeah.
engaged in this active listening. Here's my email response back to you. Here's my phone call back to you. Here's me personally approaching you just to say, hey, I heard what you had. That is such a key to success. It's an easy key to success that so many people, I think, forget. But it's vitally important. Make people know that they're heard.
And you feel that getting back in that short window of time, that allows you to very quickly set the expectation, because Mr. and Mrs. Jones, they might need something that's
Mhm.
going to take you a month
Absolutely.
to but at least they're not waiting a month to hear back.
Mhm.
So as long as they know you are, hey, I heard you, I am working towards getting you an answer. It's just not an answer that I can get
Precisely.
right away. So okay, very good.
And it goes back to, you always hear that adage of making sure you lower expectations.
Mhm.
You want to under-promise and over-deliver. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of what that is as well, but it's
That's
more
not
so.
that's not your style. I know that's not our style. Where it's like we didn't get into business, or I'm sure you didn't get into government to be like, you know what, I can't wait to have I'm gonna run my campaign on low expectations.
Yeah.
It's something where we always set the bar extremely high, and I know just from our conversation with you, and I see you out at all the different events that we're you're always helping out and doing some really cool things. So, but it's like, I feel that that's a great way to say, don't lower your expectations, just set them better. Does that make sense? Like, okay, cool.
Set them
All right.
realistically.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong, and especially when you're in government, you've got to make sure you're trying to aim as high as you possibly can and lay out a grand vision for what you're trying to do. But also having realistic expectations is important. But again, if you can be responsive to people, that is going to be such a key for success. And again, no matter what profession, it goes back to active listening. It's not just government. Being responsive to people is so key in today's society.
Yep. Very good. All right, so we got one left.
One more.
What's it going to be? What's the third one?
Well, it integrates with what you've got in the first one I talked about, active listening.
Okay.
And that's trying to have insight and then empathy for what people have. And let me kind of delve into that a little bit further. It's talking with people. It's something that actually I learned from an English teacher that I had in high school.
Okay.
It's finding out about their background. It's finding out about what makes them tick, what drives them. So you can try to put yourself, if they've got a very serious situation, even it's a problem that's not as serious, although if people are coming to you with an issue, they obviously view it as something that's very important to them. But trying to find out what's in their background, what makes them tick, so you can try to put yourself in their shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Again, having insight to their problems, insight to their way of life, how they live their lives, and then having some empathy for it. Because if you are able to get insight and empathy and put yourself in other people's shoes, you can then be able to be more responsive. It goes back to there too. These are three very integrative types of strategies that you're trying to use for success.
Yeah, and it's and even to your first point about active listening, it's a lot easier to be active listening when you're like trying to really, hear what they're saying and put yourself in in their situation versus, keep staying on your side of the desk, so to speak. You're never gonna be able to have that empathy. You're never gonna be able to truly actively listen, and then you can't respond very well if you didn't hear anything.
It's totally true. So knowing a little bit about people's backgrounds is so key to be able to develop solutions for them and whatever they're trying to do.
Perfect. Well, Kevin, thank you so much.
This has been great.
This is
I've
fantastic. So
the IBB James and the IBB Gary.
Yeah, he's manning the camera
today.
right now. So
two great guys that
right
are
here.
trying to do some great things for Lake County, which we really appreciate.
So hey, well, again, it's been a lot of fun. We take pride in the hard work that we do, and it's all for a greater purpose, and I think that's what drives us every day, and that's what gets us through a lot of things. And I know that same for you. I don't envy having to go out and campaign and do what I'm saying, like this, but you're very good at it and you make it look easy. So thank you for everything you're doing for us, because ultimately together I plan to live in Lake County the rest of my life. So you're making sure that 15, 20 years from now, or even tomorrow, I'm able to raise a family and do all the right things and enjoy the rest of my life.
That is my job. That is my charge.
Yeah, so thank you. But
thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us on our hashtag IBB Top 3 with Lake County Commissioner Kevin Malecek. So until next time.
There it is. There's the shirt.
There's the shirt. He's official.
Shirt
got
and
there you go.
And the IBB.
And that's how you know it's
logo.
legit. So
there you go.
We will see you next time. Stay burn proof.